Well, I am very pleased to introduce our extraordinarily special guest speaker, Colorado's Governor Jared Polis, to talk about the state's response to an aging population. Governor Polis is an entrepreneur, education leader, public servant, and Colorado native, and importantly, a champion of workers of all ages, including older workers. We are thrilled that you can be here and share your vision for Colorado's workforce, including experienced employees and older workers. Thank you.
You know, I just, on the way here, I put up on my social media, Colorado has the lowest heart disease and diabetes rate in the country. Isn't that exciting? And what that means is we're going to have an even more growing aging population. What a wonderful thing, because people will live longer here. We have actually some of the longest living counties in the entire country, Summit County, and we have some of the longest longevity rates. That directly relates to health. As I say, it's nothing I can take credit for as governor. It's your own dietary and exercise choices. So thank you for doing that. In addition to the benefits of Colorado having one of the lowest obesity rates, heart disease rates, diabetes rates, what that leads to is downward pressure on healthcare costs for Coloradans. And so we hope to, by improving healthy aging, healthy behavior, further reduce healthcare costs for all of us. Good morning. Thank you to Next 50 Initiative, Transamerica Institute, University of Iowa, colleagues and leaders here today from my cabinet, Joe Barella, and Jarrett is here from our administration. You know, we are in the midst, nationally and in Colorado, of a major demographic shift. Our communities, our state, our country is growing older. And here in Colorado, our state demography office projects that Coloradans aged 60 and up will outnumber those aged 18 and under for the first time ever in 2023. And the demographic reality is this first time, and of course, part of that is coming out of longer, healthier lifespans, which is a wonderful thing, but it also means we need to make sure we can orient our state to make sure that we can have the amazing quality of life and strong economy that we do for everybody. This really has system-wide impacts on our economy and our workforce. And of course, our workforce is really our greatest asset here in Colorado. We're home to one of the most talented, highly educated, hardest working groups in the country. We want to continue to expand that talent pool, bringing homegrown talent into the fold, and that includes Coloradans of all ages. And it comes as no surprise that as people live longer, many people need to or want to or benefit from working later into their life. My parents are 77 and both work full-time. My grandmother worked into her 80s. I learned from her. She was a sales manager for a family greeting card company, and I traveled the country with her and could barely keep up with her into her 80s. You know, prior to the pandemic, 1 in 4 Coloradans 65 and up were participating in the workforce, and we expect that that number will increase. Again, it's a combination of needing to, wanting to, or just benefiting from all of those criteria. And it also helps the rest of our state. We are at a unique time when jobs outnumber people willing to do the work. While there's a nominal unemployment rate, there are more postings, as Joe Barella will point out, there are more postings for jobs than there are job applicants going in. So that means we want to expand the pool, and that means finding a way to meet people where they are. And for many older Coloradans, for some it might mean returning to work full-time in a new career. For others, it might mean working 20 hours a week, working 10 hours a week. Maybe it's a job, and there's more of these days where you can work from home. It might mean just working something unrelated to your professional career on the side for 15 or 20 hours to earn money to take cruises all over the world, or help the grandkids and the family move to Colorado to buy a home here, right? Our leaders at the Department of Personnel Administration, Department of Labor and Employment, and the Office of Future of Work, and the Colorado Workforce Development Council are all working together to figure out how Colorado can make these demographic changes work for our state. I would also want to point out that while I mentioned and talked about the importance of paid work, not all work is paid. And the work of older Coloradans that is unpaid, lending knowledge and expertise in volunteer capacities, is truly priceless for the success of our state as well. It enriches our communities. It's an amazing resource to tap. I've seen that firsthand in the early childhood space. We're thrilled to have examples like the Early Childhood Service Corps engaging older adults to support early childhood education. We see it in well-run schools where the site leader, the principal, and the teachers welcome, involve grandparents, parents that are willing to give their time. We see it in our churches. We see it across every sector of society. The people that are able to have the time, wanting to do good with that time and making an enormous difference. There's an inherent sense of value derived from the work we do, and that's whether it's paid or volunteer. And that's important at all stages of life, but especially as we become more reflective and thoughtful. When I sit around with family and friends, as I said, my parents are in their 70s, and I have aunts and uncles on my dad's side in the early 80s, on my mom's side, 70s. Work is often brought up through storytelling, through family history, through sharing. And, these stories are told with pride. And I think that's the case with most families. I was I'm going to be in Pueblo again tonight. I was in Pueblo for the Chili Festival on Friday. But, the pride that people speak with, my grandfather worked at the steel mill, right? Or my grandfather worked at SimHip for his career, our state facility down there. There's a lot of dignity to those stories, and they're told with a lot of pride. In fact, working alongside my own grandmother was my introduction to business. And I really, learned most of what I knew about business that allowed me to successfully go into business from being able to go around with my grandmother when she was in her 70s and into her early 80s. About 40% of Colorado state employees are over 50. We know that trend will continue. We are working as a state of Colorado, as we always try to do, to be kind of a model for what employers should be. We have 31,000 employees ourselves. We've taken steps ahead of the state law to expand sick leave and family leave, to provide health insurance to cover part-time employees, to increase remote working opportunities for people, to remove age discrimination bias from applications and selections, and establish the state equity office at the Department of Personnel and Administration. And age equity is one of the criteria for equity, just as we look at equity across different categories. We also are doing nation-leading work around skills-based hiring, and I want to highlight how important that can be for older Coloradans. First, what that means is, rather than just say you have to have this degree or that degree to get this job, and there will be jobs like that. If you want to be a CPA, you have to be an accountant, right? If you want to work for the state as a lawyer, you have to have a law degree. But for the vast majority of our jobs, it's about what you learn to do, what you can do, what skills you have. You could have learned those skills in the United States military. You could have learned those skills in a 30-year career for a big company. You could have learned those skills as a homemaker, right? We want to value however you got the skills you have and not put you at a disadvantage in hiring over someone who might have gone the more traditional or legacy route of getting a degree. I would add that's particularly important because we have a lower percentage of people in their 60s and 70s that have college degrees than we do of people in their 20s and 30s. We need more people, more open doors for college today, but thankfully society has made some progress on that. There are less economic and racial and social and gender barriers to attending higher education than there would have been 50 years ago and 40 years ago. But we want to make sure that we value the knowledge and wisdom acquired from a lifetime of work and living in the hiring process. And in the last year, I've signed 2 executive orders directing our state agencies to implement skills-based hiring and apprenticeship opportunities, tapping into Colorado's vast talent pool, helping state employees advance their careers once they join our teams. And we also have a clear opportunity through our state apprenticeship agency to further foster intergenerational learning and partnerships. Apprenticeships help workers gain skills and education. They get a paycheck while they're doing it, earn while you learn. We have a future of work effort led by Catherine Keegan, who I think is also here today. There you are, Catherine. And really helping to make sure that we can help workers and businesses access apprenticeships and a future-ready talent pipeline. With resources from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, we're including in support for digital training, reskilling and upskilling for key populations, including older Coloradans. We're also working with partners like the Ames Group to identify ways to better recruit and retain older workers, and AARP on their employer pledge, which embodies our beliefs and actions around being an employer of choice for all age groups, for all parts of people's lives. As we continue to drive forward strategies that really align well with the Lifelong Colorado Initiative, supporting older Coloradans in the workforce should be a fundamental priority and a priority for our state to help fill jobs that we know are there today and value skills that we know people have and provide people the opportunity, if they choose, to be able to work. We have people that might have worked for the state for 25 years and get a pension under para. Maybe they started when they were 21 and they're only 46, right? Whole life ahead of them, whole career ahead of them, time for a second career, right? And they have that second career. Maybe they're ready for a third career when they're 65, right? It's lots of different opportunities for people to be able to live the life they want to live in the state of Colorado, and really want to lead the way in empowering that. At the end of the day, we know that current and future generations of older Coloradans will provide really important economic, social, and civic value to our communities to help make Colorado an even more amazing place. We have the opportunity to welcome this value, to harness this value, to embrace the idea that a Colorado that's well adapted for aging is one in which everybody can thrive, a Colorado for all. We have a lot of irons in the fire on this topic. I went into a few today. You're going to hear about more over the course of the day, but there's a lot of important work that remains to be done. You're going to hear about our state's commitment to fostering age-inclusive workplaces from the next panel that features 3 champions of that work right here in Colorado. Many thanks for your work, your dedication to these important issues. I'm honored by the opportunity to speak today, and I look forward to partnering with you to make Colorado the very best state for people of every age. Thank you.